On opening day of the 2005 season, Mike Mularkey and the Bills welcomed Dom Capers and the Houston Texans to Buffalo. New Bills quarterback J.P. Losman made his first NFL start, and he began fast, hitting Lee Evans on a 42-yard pass. The reception set up the first of Ryan Lindell's 2 first-quarter field goals. Another pair of field goals gave Buffalo a 12-0 lead in the second quarter before Houston had even gained a first down. Bills defense collected 5 sacks, held Texans quarterback David Carr to 70 passing yards, and forced 5 turnovers, including Dominic Davis's second quarter fumble, his first in 328 touches. Carr got the Texans on the board in the second quarter on a 1-yard touchdown run, closing the gap to 12-7. Bills running back Willis McGahee collected 38 of his 117 rushing yards on the next series. The Bills opened a 19-7 lead on a touchdown pass to tackle Jason Peters. After Ryan Lindell hit his career-best 5th field goal in the fourth quarter, Buffalo's defense iced the game on Lawyer Malloy's interception, making the final score 22-7. J.P. Losman's successful debut gave the Buffalo Bills a great start to 2005. This wasn't the only perfect 10 in Tampa Bay on Sunday. For 2 weeks, Monty Kiffin's defense has played flawless football. Bills' second-year starter J.P. Losman was under attack all afternoon, completing just 12 of 29 passes for 113 yards while taking constant punishment. The game was scoreless in the second quarter when Losman stepped out the back of the end zone for a safety. After the free kick, Tampa's offense got going. Cadillac Williams broke off a 23-yard run. And veteran goal line back Mike Alstott pounded home a vintage 1-yard touchdown to give the Bucs a 9-0 lead. Just before the half, Terrence McGee took the ensuing kickoff 43 yards, setting up a Ryan Lindell field goal at a 9-3 halftime score. In the third quarter, Brian Griese hooked up with Michael Clayton for the longest play of the day. The 34-yard completion set up a Williams 3-yard touchdown run. Cadillac's score increased Tampa's lead to 16-3. In the fourth quarter, the Bucs running backs iced the game. His 31-yarder was the longest for Williams, who finished the day with 24 carries for 128 yards. Michael Pittman's 24-yard run put Tampa in range for the final 3 points of the game. The 19-3 win improved the Bucs' record to 2-0, while the Bills fell to 1-1. On Sunday, the Bills roamed back home to Buffalo, where all eyes were on the health of Falcons quarterback Michael Vick. During his 5-year career, the Falcons are only 9-19 in games where Vick has not started. But after falling behind 3-0 in the first quarter, number 7 proved that he was feeling fine. The first touchdown came late in the first quarter on backup tight end Dwayne Blakely's 9-yard touchdown reception, giving the Falcons a 7-3 lead. After Buffalo closed the gap to 7-6 on Ryan Lindell's second quarter field goal, Vick completed a 17-yard pass to receiver Brian Finneran, whose toe-tap catch at Buffalo's 24-yard line brought the Falcons to within striking distance. Atlanta cashed in with a 15-yard pass to receiver Michael Jenkins, giving the Falcons a 14-6 lead. Buffalo answered back by relying on the legs of number 21, Willis McGahee. McGahee notched 8 of his career-high 140 rushing yards on a second quarter touchdown run. McGahee's touchdown closed the Bills' deficit to 14-13. Ahead by only a point, the Falcons turned to their own running back. Warrick Dunn's 59-yard scamper set up a Falcons field goal that gave Atlanta a 17-13 lead at the end of the half. Ryan Lindell's third field goal of the day was the only score of the third quarter, and again shrank Atlanta's advantage to a point. But when Atlanta needs a play, they turn to the sweet feet of Michael Vick. Vic collected 27 of his 64 rushing yards on a fourth quarter scramble that silenced any doubts about Vic's health. The game's final score came on a 12-yard T.J. Duckett touchdown run that gave the Falcons a 24-16 win. Atlanta's successful trip to upstate New York gives the Falcons a 2-1 record after 3 weeks. After 3 straight games on the road, the displaced New Orleans Saints finally had a home game at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. The Bills came out of the gate strong with Willis McGahee capping off Buffalo's opening drive with his second touchdown of the season. For the Bills, it would be their only chance to celebrate. With the score at 7-3 in the second quarter, J.P. Losman put the Saints into scoring position when his pass for Eric Moulds was picked off by corner Jason Kraft and returned to the Bills' 23. 5 plays later, Aaron Brooks would stroll into the end zone, giving New Orleans a 10-7 lead. After another Carney field goal with 13 seconds left in the first half extended their lead to 13-7, the Saints dodged a bullet named Terrence McGee. The Pro Bowl kick returner cut, spun, and juked his way 82 yards through all 11 Saints defenders before tripping up at the 3-yard line as time expired in the half. While the Saints defense surrendered 141 rush yards, they stepped up big when needed. On a crucial 4th and inches early in the fourth quarter, safety Dwight Smith wrapped up McGahee for a loss of 2. With a 16-7 lead late in the fourth, New Orleans turned to their run game. On the Saints' final scoring drive, Deuce McAllister picked up 63 of his season-high 130 yards. John Carney would add his second fourth-quarter field goal to seal the 19-7 win. The victory moves the Saints to 2-2, while Buffalo falls to 1-3. At home in Week 5, the Bills were fishing for their second win of the season. New starting quarterback Kelly Holcomb made an immediate impact. This 49-yard completion to Lee Evans moved Buffalo down to the 1. And Willis McGahee took care of the last yard, putting the Bills up 7-0. After a Buffalo field goal made the score 10-0, Miami botched the snap on their ensuing punt, setting the Bills up with excellent field position. Holcomb capped off a 12-play, 45-yard drive with his 2-yard touchdown pass to Eric Moulds, giving Buffalo a 17-0 halftime lead. Midway through the third quarter, Miami staged a comeback. Gus Frerotte went deep to Marty Booker for 52 yards on the longest play of the game. 2 plays later, Frerotte found tight end Will Heller in the back of the end zone for a 1-yard score, bringing Miami to within 10, 17-7. With under 10 minutes to go, Holcomb and McGahee fumbled a handoff, giving the Dolphins the ball at Buffalo's 35. Frerotte made the Bills pay with a 30-yard strike to Randy McMichael, pulling Miami to within a field goal of tying the score. But Terrence McGee returned the ensuing kickoff 53 yards, setting up a Ryan Lindell field goal and a 20-14 Buffalo lead. With 2 minutes left, in need of a touchdown, Frerotte hooked up with Wes Welker for 16 yards. Just when it looked as though the Dolphins might pull off the comeback, rookie running back Ronnie Brown fumbled, sealing Miami's fate. With the recovery, the Bills cemented their 20-14 victory and sent the Dolphins home scratching their heads. When Vinny Testaverde was a Miami Hurricane, Ronald Reagan was president. Fellow Miami alum Willis McGahee can't say the same, so he let his 143 rushing yards do all the talking on Sunday. His 23-yard run on the Bills' first drive helped set up Kelly Holcomb's touchdown pass to Jonathan Smith, which gave Buffalo a 7-0 lead. The Bills extended that lead to 14-0 when Holcomb connected with Eric Moulds in the second quarter. Later in the second quarter, Jets running back Curtis Martin broke one for 49 yards, setting up a Mike Nugent field goal, which made it a 14-3 game. Soon thereafter, Holcomb was intercepted by Jets cornerback Ty Law deep in Bills territory. The Jets drove down the field, and Martin's 1-yard touchdown plunge made it a 14-10 game just before halftime. In the third quarter, Martin picked up where he left off, powering it to the Bills' 20. Martin rushed for 148 yards on 18 carries. But on the very next play, Testaverde was picked off by Angelo Crowell, ending the Jets' last best chance to take the lead. The Bills drove 82 yards in 10 plays, the last of which was a 1-yard McGahee touchdown run, giving Buffalo a 24-10 lead. But the Bills let the Jets stick around. Later in the third, Holcomb was picked off by linebacker Mark Brown, who returned it to the Buffalo 2. 2 plays later, Testaverde threw his 41-year-old Bones into the end zone, cutting the Bills' lead to 24-17. But the Jets would get no closer. Late in the fourth quarter, a Testaverde fumble and an interception by Terrence McGee sealed a 27-17 Bills victory, tying Buffalo for first in the AFC East. When Mike Mularkey's Buffalo Bills traveled west to take on the Oakland Raiders, they were looking to take sole possession of first place in the AFC East. And on the game's opening possession, things looked good for Buffalo as they marched downfield on a 14-play, 82-yard drive. Kelly Holcomb then hit Lee Evans from 5 yards out to give the Bills a 7-0 lead. Kerry Collins and the Raiders countered with a 10-play, 72-yard drive of their own. But the Bills' defense came up big by pressuring Collins in the red zone and forced Oakland to settle for a 25-yard Sebastian Janikowski field goal. They cut the Buffalo lead to 7-3 in the second quarter. However, on their next drive, the Raiders would not be denied. Collins hit Randy Moss on a 22-yard touchdown, and Oakland took the lead at 10-7. After a Ryan Lindell field goal tied the game at 10, the Raiders struck again. This time, it was Lamont Jordan taking it in from 10 yards out to give Oakland a 17-10 lead at the half. In the third quarter, Lamont Jordan kept the Raiders on top with a 17-yard touchdown run that pushed Oakland ahead 24-10. But Buffalo battled back, and early in the fourth quarter, Kelly Holcomb pulled the Bills within a touchdown at 24-17 with a 9-yard pass to Josh Reed. Midway through the fourth, the Raiders continued to put points on the board as Lamont Jordan scored his third touchdown of the afternoon on the 7-yard run, and Oakland went ahead 31-17. The Raiders put the game on ice when Zach Crockett pounded the ball over the goal line from 2 yards out. With the 38-17 win, the Raiders improved to 2-4, while Buffalo falls out of a first-place tie with the Patriots in the AFC East. Sunday night, fans in New England welcome back linebacker Teddy Bruschi for his first game since suffering an offseason stroke as the Patriots welcome the division rival Bills to Foxborough. And Bruschi made his presence felt early, contributing from the game's first series. In the second quarter, the Patriots suffered a double whammy, losing the ball near midfield on a fumble and running back Patrick passed to injury. The Bills took advantage of the short field, and Ryan Lindell made good on a 23-yard field goal attempt to give Buffalo a 3-0 lead. In the third quarter, the Patriots came to life and took a 7-3 lead on a 33-yard scoring strike from Tom Brady to Deion Branch. The Bills answered in a big way and recaptured a 10-7 lead minutes later on a 55-yard touchdown strike from Kelly Holcomb to Eric Moulds. Trailing 16-7 in the fourth quarter, the Patriots began to make their move. They capped a 61-yard drive with a 1-yard run by Corey Dillon to pull to within 16-14. Moments later, New England had possession of the ball again after Roosevelt Colvin forced and recovered a fumble at the Bills' 23-yard line. It took only 2 plays for the Patriots to take their first lead of the game at 21-16 on Dillon's second touchdown from a yard out. The outcome will come down to a 4th and long for the Bills at the Patriots' 40-yard line. Eric Moulds was stopped for no gain, and New England escaped with a 21-16 win to stay atop the AFC East. Fresh off their bye week, the Buffalo Bills were back at home taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. With Priest Holmes out for the season, Larry Johnson made his second consecutive start at running back. This 24-yard run set up a field goal and a 3-0 Chiefs lead. Johnson had another strong game, rushing for 132 yards on 27 carries. Unfortunately for Kansas City, Trent Green's performance wasn't up to par. This James Posey fumble recovery was the first of 6 sacks and 4 turnovers for the Chiefs. 3 plays later, Kelly Holcomb suffered a concussion that knocked him out for the game. In stepped former starter J.P. Lossman, who hadn't played in Buffalo's last 4 games. On his first series, Lossman connected with Lee Evans for a 33-yard touchdown, giving the Bills a 7-3 halftime lead. On Kansas City's first possession of the third quarter, Green threw his second interception. Rashawn Baker's 18-yard return set Buffalo up with excellent field position. 2 plays later, Lossman found Evans again for a 29-yard score, extending the Bills' lead to 14-3. Down by 11 in the fourth quarter, Green threw his 3rd interception. Despite outgaining the Bills by 100 yards and 13 first downs, Kansas City could muster just 3 points. With the 14-3 loss, the Chiefs fell to 5-4, while the Bills improved to 4-5 and into second place in the AFC East. After shutting down the Chiefs last week, the Bills were in San Diego, hoping for their second consecutive victory against the well-rested Chargers. And from the start, the Bills found San Diego to be anything but paradise as the Chargers drove 75 yards and took a 7-0 lead on a 1-yard touchdown run by LaDainian Tomlinson on their first possession. On their next possession, San Diego stretched the lead to 14-3 on a 27-yard scoring pass from Drew Brees to Antonio Gates. In the second quarter, a 23-yard touchdown strike from Brees to Eric Parker gave the Chargers a comfortable 21-3 lead. Everything continued to unravel for the Bills as a fumble handoff from J.P. Lossman to Willis McGahee put the Chargers in position to add to the lead. 6 plays and 22 yards later, San Diego was rolling at 28-3 after a 2-yard touchdown pass from Brees to Lorenzo Neal. The Bills did manage to pull together for a 55-yard drive and cut the lead to 28-10 on a 3-yard touchdown pass from Lossman to Damon Shelton. Any celebration was short-lived, however, because San Diego jumped back in front 35-10 just before halftime on Brees' 4th touchdown pass of the half, a 29-yard strike to Keenan McCardell. Mike Turner finished off the 48-10 San Diego win with his first career touchdown, an 8-yard fourth-quarter score, as the Chargers bolted their way to 6-4, while the Bills fell to 4-6.
With a 4-1 home record, the Bills have been unwelcoming to guests. Down 3-0 to Carolina midway through the second quarter, J.P. Lossman led his team on an impressive march. On 3rd and 6, he hit Josh Reed for 29. 2 plays later, Roscoe Parrish for 17, followed by Eric Moulds for 11. The 76-yard drive led to a game-tying field goal by Ryan Lindell. On Carolina's next possession, Aaron Schobel hit Jake Delhomme's arm, forcing a fumble which Buffalo recovered. That set up a Lindell 45-yarder, giving Buffalo a 6-3 halftime lead. In the third quarter, the NFL's leading receiver got involved. On back-to-back plays, Steve Smith gained 17 and 29 yards, setting up a John Casey field goal and a 6-6 score. Lossman answered with another impressive drive, here hooking up with Lee Evans on 3rd and 9 to set up another Lindell field goal and a 9-6 lead. Down by 3 midway through the fourth quarter, Carolina converted a huge 3rd down. The 24-yard gain to Ricky Prohl set up the Panthers' first offensive touchdown in over 8 quarters. Delhomme's 3-yard pass to Michael Gaines gave Carolina a 13-9 lead with 2:16 to play. With under a minute to go, Buffalo needed a touchdown, but J.P. Lossman was intercepted by Chris Gamble, securing Carolina's 13-9 win and sole possession of first place in the NFC South, while the Bills fell to 4-7.
The Miami Dolphins were looking for their first back-to-back wins of the season as they faced the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. But it was the Bills that struck first as J.P. Lossman launched a pass to Lee Evans for a 46-yard touchdown and a 7-0 lead early in the first quarter. Miami tried to answer Buffalo's first drive when Chris Chambers fumbled and Terrence McGee recovered for the Bills. Lossman didn't waste any time taking advantage of the mistake when he connected with Evans again for a 56-yard touchdown, extending the lead to 14-0. Later in the first quarter, Lossman hit Evans with his third touchdown of the day, giving Buffalo a 21-0 lead. After a Miami field goal late in the second quarter, the Bills' defense came out ready to play in the third quarter. London Fletcher recorded the safety as Gus Frerotte was knocked out of the game. Buffalo took a 23-3 lead. The Bills appeared to have the game in hand late in the third quarter when Lossman was picked off on the 1-yard line by Sam Madison. Early in the fourth quarter, Ricky Williams was the first offense to find the end zone on a 5-yard touchdown run, trimming the lead to 23-10. On Miami's next possession, Sage Rosenfels found Ronnie Brown for a 23-yard touchdown. With under 2 minutes left in the game, the Dolphins trailed 23-17 as Chris Chambers added to his career day with a 57-yard reception. Chambers had 15 receptions for 238 yards. On 4th and 4 with 6 seconds remaining, Rosenfels connected with Chambers for the touchdown and the 24-23 win. Chambers set a Miami record for receiving yards and catches as the Dolphins won back-to-back games for the first time this season. Now 14-0 and the temperature is less than 35, Tom Brady and the Patriots stormed all over the Buffalo Bills. In the first quarter, it seemed the Bills were off to a fast start when J.P. Lossman hit Lee Evans for a 58-yard gain. But Asante Samuel ended the drive by intercepting Lossman in the end zone. On 1st and goal at the Buffalo 3-yard line, Tom Brady dashed into the end zone to make it 7-0 Patriots with 5:33 remaining in the first. Early in the second quarter, the Pats took advantage of good field position and capped off a 49-yard drive with a 12-yard Corey Dillon touchdown that made it 14-0 at halftime. Driving into the red zone early in the third quarter, Brady threw his second and final interception as London Fletcher plucked the ball from the air and returned it to the Buffalo 30. The Pats defense answered back on the next play as rookie Ellis Hobbs picked off Lossman. Unlike Buffalo, New England capitalized on its turnover. A 5-yard Troy Brown TD reception made it 21-0 Patriots. Down 28-0, J.P. Lossman was unable to catch a break, but James Sanders caught a tip pass by Teddy Bruschi to make the score 35-0 with less than 3 minutes remaining. The Bills were frozen offensively until Lossman hit Josh Reed for an impressive 51-yard catch and run that melted the Patriots shutout. Reed finished the day with 2 catches for 76 yards behind receiver Lee Evans. But the world champs easily advanced to 8-5 and are dancing alone atop the AFC East.
Saturday night, the Buffalo Bills welcome back receiver Eric Moulds from a suspension against the Broncos, who were looking to ride into the playoffs with a win. However, it was the hometown Bills who would circle the wagons early, as Moulds made an immediate impact with a 27-yard catch. Willis McGahee then capped a 9-play, 56-yard opening drive with a 1-yard touchdown to give Buffalo a 7-0 lead. Mistakes would hurt the Bills in the second quarter as a roughing the passer penalty on 3rd and goal kept the Broncos' drive alive. Instead of settling for 3 points, the Broncos were able to tie the game at 7 when Rod Smith outmuscled Troy Vincent for the ball in the back of the end zone for the touchdown on a 3-yard pass from Jake Plummer. In the third quarter, the Broncos went for the lead on a 40-yard pass from Plummer to Ashley Lilly. 3 plays later, Wesley Duke made his first career catch count when his 1-yard touchdown gave the Broncos their first lead at 14-7. With their lead trimmed to 14-10, Denver finally got their running game going late in the third quarter. Mike Anderson culminated a 9-play, 70-yard drive with an 11-yard touchdown run to give the Broncos a 21-10 lead heading into the fourth quarter. In the final quarter, Denver put the game away with Anderson's second touchdown, following a 15-play drive that consumed over 8 minutes. Bills receiver Joe Burns was able to score his first career touchdown late in the game on a 19-yard pass from Kelly Holcomb. However, it wasn't enough to prevent the Broncos from walking away with the 28-17 win and clinching a spot in the AFC playoffs.
The Cincinnati Bengals were shooting to match the most wins in team history with 12, last achieved in 1988. The Buffalo Bills weren't going down easily. On their first play from scrimmage, Lee Evans caught a 65-yard bomb and took it to the 2-yard line. Cincy's defense stiffened on the goal line and held the Bills to a field goal. Down 6-0, Tad Prairie scored from 3 yards out to give Cincy a 7-6 lead. Buffalo answered with a 9-play, 67-yard drive. They culminated in a 3-yard touchdown pass to Evans. The extra point made it 13-7 Bills. During the midweek hype, Chad Johnson said he was planning his most elaborate scoring celebration yet. Late in the second quarter, he got his opportunity. After his 41-yard touchdown, he showed his appreciation for the fans by tossing gifts into the stands. The Bengals led 14-13 at the half. A Shane Graham field goal gave Cincy a 17-13 edge, but the lead didn't last long. On the ensuing kickoff, Terrence McGee bolted up the sideline for a 99-yard touchdown, and just like that, Buffalo led 20-17. But the Bills' defense couldn't hold up. Palmer dropped a perfect deep ball into the corner of the end zone for Chris Henry, putting Cincy up 24-20. On their next possession, the Bills converted a 3rd and 18 as Roscoe Parrish showed some nifty moves on his way to a 28-yard gain. Holcomb went over the top for a 1-yard touchdown to give Buffalo a 27-24 lead. After Cincy tied the game at 27, Holcomb drove the Bills again. A 22-yard completion to Josh Reed, followed by a 17-yarder to Eric Moulds, set up the go-ahead field goal and a 30-27 lead. With 46 seconds left, the Bengals' hopes were dashed as McGee intercepted Palmer's pass and ran it back 46 yards for a score. With the 37-27 win, the Bills improved to 5-10, while the Bengals fell to 11-4, spoiling an opportunity to improve their postseason positioning. The Jets and Bills squared off in a division matchup that saw both teams finishing up disappointing seasons at the bottom of the AFC East. Trailing 6-3 in the second quarter, the Jets' offense came alive as Brooks Bollinger connected with Lavernius Coles for a 43-yard gain. Cedric Houston punched in the score from 3 yards out to give the Jets a 10-6 lead. On the next play, the Jets seized an opportunity when linebacker Mark Brown intercepted Kelly Holcomb's pass, deflecting off fullback Damian Shelton's feet, and ran it in 33 yards for the touchdown, giving the Jets a 17-6 lead. Holcomb would bounce back from his interception and connect with Eric Moulds for a 22-yard touchdown that brought the Bills within a touchdown, entering halftime. In the second half, the Jets came out firing as Bollinger connected with Jericho Cotchery on this 45-yard pass that set up one of Mike Nugent's 3 field goals on the day. The Bills would take the lead late in the third quarter when Kelly Holcomb found Roscoe Parrish in the end zone for his first career touchdown and a 3-point cushion over the Jets. But the Jets' special team finally provided the big play late in the fourth quarter. Cornerback Justin Miller took a kickoff 95 yards for the touchdown, giving the Jets a 30-26 lead late in the fourth quarter. With under a minute to play, Ty Law sealed the deal with his third interception of the day and the Jets' fourth pick overall. The win lifts the Jets to 4-12, one game behind the 5-11 Bills for last place in the AFC East.